What's going on, guys? Mega Gig back with another video, taking a look again at the Witch Doctor today. Before we do that, I want to say real quick, I mentioned in the last video, but I forgot to mention it at the beginning, so some people may not have seen it if you skip through. I am using new recording and editing software. I'm still using OBS, open broadcast software, but it's a newer version, which seems to be better. And then I'm also using DaVinci Resolve for video editing and whatnot, so it should translate into higher quality videos now. Let me know if you guys notice a difference in the quality. Main thing, it's going to allow me to do things like picture-in-picture and things like that, so I'll start messing with that a little ways down the road. But I wanted to say that I did also turn my mic down a touch. I felt like with the new OBS, it was either a little loud or kind of crackly. Maybe my mic's going out. I don't know. We'll see how this video turns out. But let's get into the topic of the video. I chose to just do the Zunimasa's set to kind of showcase some of these buffs, because that's really, I think, the only build I haven't really, gone over. But the build itself hasn't actually been buffed, so there's no changes to the set, no changes anything like that. The main changes are to Mask of Jerem. Pets now deal up to 200% increased damage. And the Short Man's Finger has been buffed. The original one says each smaller gargantuan is stronger than the other. It didn't really say how much. And I had an old Short Man's Finger that actually had a just a solid orange 200%. So I don't know if that's what the original was. Excuse me. But anyways, now it goes all the way up to 650%. And with those two changes, this build is a lot stronger. When I previously did a video on this, I was struggling to do like a 68, 69, and now I can do an 80 pretty easily. I can, if it's a good enough rift and I can get good enough focus, I can do an 85. But I really struggle doing an 85, mainly because the focus isn't there. Of course, you can go in and I'm just going to go ahead and start a quick rift. You can go in and summon everything, and I think I'm actually on the wrong haunt rune, but it should be okay. Summon everything in the middle of an elite pack, and then your gargantuans will basically blow up that elite pack. But other than that, they tend to get spread out, and then they don't do as much damage. I actually tried an interesting version of this that seemed pretty much on par with this. It played a little different. I got rid of the furnace, and I put the Ring of Emptiness in there. Or I got rid of the furnace and I put Wormwood, and then I swapped out Convention of Elements for Ring of Emptiness. And that combination, it was interesting. It seemed pretty close to this, honestly. So that might be something to think about in the future. But there, we'll summon our guys, and our Enchantress coming in at just the right time, sucking all the enemies away. And there they go, blow up elites pretty quick. But now our gargantuan is on cooldown, so they're gonna kind of be spread out a little bit. We want to kind of hang out in the middle, because as soon as they come off cooldown, we'll summon them in there and then get out. Then our gargantuans will be all bunched up and able to do their cleave damage all in one targeted area and do massive damage. This build itself is probably, I think last season, I didn't mean to do that. I think it was already pushing into the high 90s. So I would imagine, like a lot of other builds, this build is going to be able to push into the hundreds if you have the right gear and if you're good enough at playing it. And if you get a decent rift, One thing I would have liked to have the poison spirit rune on here. I was messing around with some other stuff and forgot to change it back, but I think everything else is changed back. I do get people ask me from time to time that I say something in a video, and then they go and check my profile and they say, "Oh, well, hey, your profile shows you're not using the build that you say." And well, yeah, I change things. I experiment around with stuff, as most people do. And if I find something better, I am sure to let everybody know. I'm really enjoying that Tempest Rush build that I made a video on before. It's a lot of fun. I'd played a Tempest Rush build once before, and it wasn't as much fun, I guess. Come on, get in there and do all your damage. And that's the main thing. If you get a lot of density here, of course density is always good, but to really get your pets to do damage, you really need to have them all really bunched up, and sometimes it's kind of hard, even with Piranado. But once they actually get in there and do damage, they do tons of damage. I do wish there was some way that we could focus our pets, kind of like the Necromancer does, instead of just having to resummon them. So maybe that will get reworked sometime in the future. And because in this particular build we're using Ring of Elements, we do get to technically benefit from 2 elements. Our Gargantuan benefits from cold, which is really, really nice, and he's our main source of damage, all 3 of them. But then our Fetish Army are physical, so they get to benefit from the physical roll, which they're not doing near as much damage as the Gargantuan, but they're still there, still doing damage, and they still get somewhat of a benefit, so it's kind of nice either way. To take advantage of our cooldown passive, you do need to make sure you're kind of standing in the middle or near enemies when they die, because it is a fairly small radius. And wow, not much elites. So there was a patch on the PTR the other day, and I don't know if it was just maintenance or what, but ever since I came back, and this has been since, has it been 2 days, I guess? 3, something like that? The rifts, for me, I don't know if it's been for anybody else, but for me have been just the worst. The worst. Not getting hardly any density. When I do run into density, for some reason, each mob has to have every single affix that is imaginable. And we might die. So I don't know if I've just gotten really unlucky since the patch. I've played quite a few Greater Rifts, testing this and then other characters too, and it's no different on any other characters. So I'm not sure if they made any quote-unquote quality of life updates and they messed up the Greater Rift, or if my RNG has just been that bad. There is a version of this build that uses fire bats. I've tried that. It's not bad. Other people will say it's better than this. It just kind of depends on your play style. The only thing is you're gonna run out of mana really quick if if you have to cast multiple times, and I like trying to move around and staying in everything. Go ahead and heal up. So this has been a good density floor. We haven't really had what, 2 elite packs I think on this floor, or just 1? There's another one. Go ahead and get our gargantuan in there. And we should be... Oh, we're stuck. Lagging. We're stuck and lagging. Yeah, I didn't feel like chancing the RNG on this video, so I thought I'd just run an 80. Since in the previous video I made of this, I was struggling to do an 80 or a 68. So the buffs have definitely come a long way for me if it's 68 to 80, and I've only got 162 more points. I was at 1,000 Paragon in that video. I actually went and checked. Man, drop your shield already, dude. And this is the same equipment because I haven't really played this build any. Same gear, all that stuff, with the exception of the new the new buffs. And I've got something in my throat. That's unfortunate. Pardon me, had to take a drink. There's another elite. Yeah, if you want to do even more damage, you'll switch this rune out to the Poison Spirit rune. And our guys are starting to get a little spread out. There, we got them bunched up. I do keep in mind you don't get the damage buff from Traveler's Pledge if you're constantly walking around. You do get the toughness buff, which is nice, but you do not get the damage buff. And we are wearing the Endless Walk set. So keep that in mind. Whoa, and you got to keep your soul harvest stacks up as well to get that damage mitigation. And my potions on cooldown too. Of course, my gargantuans are up here. Let's clear that out so they'll get over here. Now remember, you only get the 3-piece damage buff when enemies are affected by your mana spenders. So if your gargantuans or whatever run off and are fighting something else and they aren't affected by a mana spender of some kind, then they aren't going to do any damage. That was kind of my idea behind Locust Swarm and Haunt and Ring of Emptiness and Wormwood, because they would all be affected by Locust Swarm. I wasn't entirely sure if they would be affected by Locust Swarm if you didn't actually cast it, but it seemed like they were. It could have just been like a placebo effect. I was, of course, using other skills too. And then we'll just stand back here and let our damage tick up. And we'll just keep casting that a little bit. Let's get rid of that. Oh, stop sending those after me. Oh, this is going to hurt. I feel like they've changed these frozen pulses too. And we just got saved big time there. Alright guys, come on, end them. Uh-oh. Yeah, we're going to die. Oh, we didn't die. Man, those frozen pulses. But those are the changes, guys. Only two really are the Mask of Jerem and the Short Man's Finger. And yeah, I don't believe anything else has changed. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of the changes, and yeah, if you like the video, leave a like and a comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks guys for watching. More good stuff to come. Take care.